Now at 9, voters in Kansas and Missouri cast their ballots for today's primary elections. We'll have the latest results. And later,
Vice President Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, stepping into the spotlight for the first time. I'm Rebecca Castor with Reaction, coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Voters have spoken. We're getting the numbers from today's state and local primary races across Missouri and Kansas. Voters have chosen who they want to be their party nominees in the November election. We'll get to those in a moment, but first we begin with a couple of proposed constitutional amendments in Missouri. Now these require only a simple majority. Amendment number 1 would provide a property tax break for childcare outside of the home. That amendment is failing. Amendment number 4 would increase minimum funding for a police force in Kansas City, Missouri. That amendment is passing. Missouri also has a gubernatorial race. 9 Republicans were seeking their party's nominations, including current Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft and current Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. Now, Mike Kehoe is leading. You see some of the other top candidates. Now 5 Democrats sought the nomination for Missouri Governor. Crystal Quade is leading in that race. Well, it was a crowded field of contenders in Missouri's Lieutenant Governor's race. Dave Wassinger is leading among the Republicans seeking the nomination. Well, 2 Democrats competed for their party's nomination for Missouri Lieutenant Governor. Richard Brown leads Anastasia Size. Well, a lot of candidates are trying to be Missouri's next Secretary of State as Jay Ashcroft leaves the position. Denny Hoskins is leading among the GOP contenders. And 3 Democrats are competing for Missouri's Secretary of State. Barbara Pfeiffer is leading for the party's nomination. Well, parties also picked their nominees for a number of U.S. and state House and Senate races in Missouri and Kansas. Dow Quick joins us in the studio with the latest on some of those.
Yeah, hi, Tanya. One of the biggest races is for the 2nd District congressional seat of Kansas, where the current Congressman Jake LaTurner is not seeking re-election. 5 Republicans competed for their party's nomination. The winner, projected by Associated Press, is the former Kansas Attorney General, Derek Schmidt. 2 Democrats are competing. Nancy Boyda held that seat in 2007 and 2008. Boyda is trailing the architect and developer Matt Kleinman, the former KU basketball player. In Missouri, 4 Republicans competed for the nomination for the 7th District U.S. House seat. Eric Burleson is the incumbent in that race and the AP projected winner. In November, he's going to face the Democrat Missy Hesketh, who was uncontested in the primary. In Missouri's 4th District congressional race, 2 Democrats ran. Jeanette Cass is leading. The winner will face incumbent Republican Congressman Mark Alford in November. Missouri also has a U.S. Senate race as Democrats choose their nominee to challenge incumbent Republican Senator Josh Hawley. 4 Democrats were on the ballot. Lucas Kuntz has won that nomination. In the Missouri State Senate race for the 29th District, incumbent Mike Moon was challenged by Susan Harrelson. Moon, as you see, is leading. Kansas State Senator faced a challenger in the District 12 GOP primary. Incumbent Carolyn Tyson is leading Stetson Kern. In the Kansas State Senate race for District 13, incumbent Republican Tim Schallenberger leads the challenger Sam Owen at the moment. 2 Republicans competed for the nomination in Kansas State House Race District 4. Rick James leads Joshua Jones. And in the Kansas House District 1, 2 Democrats are competing. Janie Jarrett leads Paul Rogers in this early going. Those are some House and Senate races at the state and federal levels. Tanya, I'm going to toss it back to you.
All right, thanks, Dow. We'll have lots of area sheriff's races among Republicans. In all of these races, there are not any contested among the Democrats. For Cherokee County Sheriff, current Chief Deputy Nate Jones trails Brian Henderson. KOAM's Samantha Walker is live in Cherokee County, where she's been receiving election results. Sam?
I'm at the Cherokee County Courthouse, where there's been a lot of anxious energy as election numbers have been rolling in since polls officially closed at 7 p.m. Now, one Cherokee County election official that I spoke with said they're seeing a higher turnout this year than they have in previous primaries. It's been a long season of campaigning for candidates, especially for the contested race for the Republican nominee for the Cherokee County Sheriff. Nate Jones, currently Chief Deputy in Cherokee County, and Brian Henderson, the current Police Chief in Baxter Springs, have both been heavily campaigning for the position ahead of today's primary. The position is open after current Sheriff David Gross announced he was stepping down. The winner of today's primary will face off against Democratic candidate Russ Harper, former Baxter Springs Police Chief, in November. Now, the last unofficial numbers that we have seen has Brian Henderson ahead by roughly 750 points. Live in Columbus, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Thank you. Of course, we'll keep following that. Samantha, thanks. Well, checking out some other Republican races for sheriff in the area. In Allen County, incumbent Brian Murphy leads Anthony Manes. Another incumbent faces a GOP party challenge in Bourbon County, Kansas. Sheriff Bill Martin leads Nelson Blythe. In Montgomery County, Kansas, Republican Sheriff Ron Wade leads challenger Bobby Dirks. In Wilson County, Pete Kuhn is the current undersheriff. He leads Luis Cottrell de Posito. We'll have more election results in a bit. You can also find lots of election results by scanning the QR code on your screen to take you directly to our website. You can also search for results, KOAMnewsnow.com/elections. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Temperatures dropping down to the upper 70s now, but we're getting to unseasonably cool temperatures for our low tonight in the mid to lower 60s. So we've got a ways to go before temperatures continue to get that cold. It still feels like it's about 80 degrees, and we've got winds that shifted from the south now are out of the northeast as that cold front moved through. It's a weak cold front, so we only see temperatures dip through tonight and through early morning tomorrow. But they'll warm back up. We do have a couple chances for a cool down later in the week, along with some rain chances. But right now we're focused on the dip down of temperatures right now. 74 out in Nevada, 75 in Iola. Still a little bit warmer in the southern counties, 89 in Jay, 86 in Veneta. And luckily, no more heat advisories. We are in the trail for cooler temperatures this week, and I'll have more details in just a bit.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up, Access Family Care in Neosho, Missouri celebrates National Health Center Week with a free lunch. But first, some more election results. And we have more results from area elections, starting with a sales tax question in Neosho County, Kansas. It's a 0.5% sales tax to fund roads and bridges in the county, and it is currently passing. The city of Oswego, Kansas is asking for a 1% sales tax. 75% of it would develop and maintain city streets and parking, and the other 25% would go to improve the city's parks. This one is currently passing. We'll have even more results in just a bit, but first, some non-election local news. The Columbus Fire Department is investigating the cause of a house fire from last night. It happened in the 400 block of South Vermont Street. Authorities say the flames were so intense they melted the siding on a neighboring house. The residents were not home at the time of the fire, and there are no reported injuries. While the investigation continues, authorities suspect an electric issue as the cause. The president of Via Christi Hospital in Pittsburgh announces his retirement. Drew Talbot will step down after 30 years of service to the hospital. Talbot joined Via Christi back in 1996, but has served as president of the Pittsburgh Hospital for the past 4 years. Talbot's final day as president comes one day before Via Christi Hospital in Pittsburgh transitions to the sponsorship of Mercy Health System on September 1st. Community members in Neosho turned out for some food and health advice. Access Family Care invited the public out to celebrate National Health Week. Hot dogs, chips, and popcorn were provided, while Access Family Care offered information on how to stay healthy and avoid chronic diseases.
We celebrate the benefits of providing medical, dental, and behavioral health care, primarily to people that are underserved, primarily low income, but we will see anybody.
Access Family Healthcare serves multiple locations in Southwest Missouri, including Joplin, Lamar, and Neosho. Well, if you've ever been scared of going to the doctor's office or fears they might judge you, you're not alone. But now new research is suggesting those concerns could be a reality. Fox News' Sean Langale takes a closer look at the findings that suggest why and how some doctors pass judgment.
Medical experts say it's vital for patients to honestly disclose symptoms and lifestyle habits in order for their doctors to accurately treat them. But a new study from the Stevens Institute of Technology finds some doctors can judge their patients if they report incorrect medical beliefs about their health.
We found that people believe that their doctors are going to judge them if they share information that the doctors don't agree with. We found the patients were actually right.
Researchers surveyed more than 350 patients and more than 200 doctors, asking how they viewed people with varying degrees of medical beliefs. Those range from factually correct information to incorrect opinions about health. Some of the false statements then range from being unreasonable, like suggesting carrot juice can cure diabetes, to more outlandish conspiracy theories.
In this study, all we can say is that doctors do form negative judgments when patients espouse beliefs that are mistaken, and the more mistaken they are, the more negatively they judge them.
Study authors call these findings concerning because they could make more patients scared to share what's on their mind.
The more wrong your doctor thinks you are, the more they're going to not like interacting with you. They're going to think you're not going to trust them, that you might not be very good at managing your disease. And that you might not follow their directions.
Researchers are calling for more patience and understanding rather than jumping to judgment.
I think doctors have to remember that patients are not experts. Instead of focusing on the patients disclosing information, we need to focus on the doctors and helping them be less judgmental.
Sean Langell, Fox News.
Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later we'll check in with the Missouri Southern football team as they get ready for the fast approaching season. But first, even more election results.
Well, it's finally cooling down out there. I know the last couple days have been pretty hot, but we're on a cooler trend for the rest of the week. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We've got a now northerly breeze. Winds shifted a little bit earlier this afternoon, and we also have mostly clear skies tonight. Maybe a cloud or two, but overall we're going to remain dry. We did have a frontal boundary that moved through, dropping the temperatures. It was a weak cold front, so it didn't drop the temperatures for a prolonged period of time. But tonight, temperatures getting down to the lower to mid 60s, so unseasonably cool for this time of year. And unfortunately, temperatures go right back up to low 90s tomorrow. But I'm going to enjoy the cooler temperatures tonight. By midnight, already down to about 68. Now, the overnight low is going to be closer to about 6:30 in the morning. 66 out in Joplin, 64 in Fort Scott. 63 in Yates Center, a little bit warmer still in those southern counties, 68 in Veneta, but everybody overnight low is going to be in the 60s. Winds are starting to shift back out to the northeast. That is just due to the weak cold front. It's not really strong enough to keep the winds out of the north, but don't fear, we do have another cold front moving in later on this week, which will shift the winds back out from the north, bring us cooler temperatures again. But high tomorrow, getting up to about 91 out in Joplin, 94 in Independence and Sedan, 95 in Newata and Grove. So everywhere in about 90 to 95. Cooler than what it was today, but still a little bit warmer than what we want to see later on in the week. Luckily, like I said, Thursday we've got another cold front coming through, and it's going to be stronger. So you can see the winds out of the east in those southern counties, and then out of the north as that boundary passes. So we've got some storms along this boundary, 6 to 7 in the morning on Thursday. Temperatures are still getting pretty warm, 94 in Joplin, Miami, 94 in Welsh, and Nowata, 96 in Veneta. But still, this is where that boundary is making its way across the area. So 85 in Yates Center, 89 in Iola. But we do have higher humidity, lower temperatures after this boundary makes it in. Tomorrow, still going to be pretty dry because the cold front that moved through today was a little bit of a cooler but dry air mass from the north. Then you can start to see a lot of moisture moving in on those western, northwestern counties. This is about the time all those storms are moving in right along that boundary. So it's going to be early in the morning on Thursday. There's the boundary right there, and then the storms right behind it, moving into the area. Mostly just the northern counties are going to get some rain, but after that happens, we do see cooler temperatures. So temperatures are going to be in the mid to lower 80s after Thursday, so starting Friday through the rest of the weekend and into early next week. So this is about 6 a.m. We saw that moisture moving in along that boundary, some storms, possibly a thunderstorm or two, but mostly just going to be scattered showers and isolated showers as they move across the northern counties. And then we're going to see those cooler temperatures as we move into Friday and Saturday. It's also going to be a little bit more moisture, so we are seeing some more rain showers pushing in starting Saturday. Now, Future Track has it coming in a little bit early. It's about 6 in the morning on Saturday. Likely it's going to hold off until later in the afternoon, probably after about 2 p.m. But then we are getting scattered shower and thunderstorm chances starting Saturday afternoon, continuing all the way until Wednesday. Temperatures do start to warm up again by Wednesday, 93, so we do have a little bit more of some warm air advection moving in Wednesday along with those morning thunderstorms. Then temperatures go right back up to normal August temperatures, upper 90s, triple digits.
I'm looking forward to a little bit of a cool down. I mean, this is nice not seeing triple digits every day. Get rid of that Friday.
And we definitely need the rain, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, that'll be nice. All right, I see a lot of brown lawns right now. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, the Miami, Oklahoma Public Library is teaming up with their local Arby's for a fundraiser. Until close at midnight tonight, 20% of all sales at the Arby's location at 1217 North Main in Miami will support the Ottawa County Imagination Library program. For orders to qualify, though, you must be going through the drive-through or walk-in, not online. The Imagination Library program provides free books to children from birth until they begin school. Well, coming up, a rebound day for Wall Street.
Markets bounce back after the worst day on Wall Street since September 2022. I'm Kelly O'Grady in New York. I'll have the details coming up.
Markets bounce back today after their worst day in nearly 2 years. Fox Business correspondent Kelly O'Grady reports.
Stocks bounced back on Tuesday with investors appearing to look past concerns about the economy.
In terms of, long-term investors, just ride it out. I don't think there's necessarily a panic here where it just continues to tailspin.
Stocks stabilized with some investors picking up bargains after the S&P 500 had its worst day in nearly 2 years on Monday and fears the Federal Reserve hadn't done enough to prevent a recession.
The economy is certainly slowing. The house is not on fire. I do believe the table is set for a Fed rate cut in September to the tune of 50 basis points.
The so-called Magnificent Seven group of stocks, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, the main driver for the major averages hitting record highs this year. Collectively, they lost $1 trillion in market value during Monday's market plunge.
Between now and the elections, is it going to be choppy? Yeah, it will. If you've got a 12-month time horizon, yeah, this is a good chance to put money to work.
San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly says we aren't in a recession yet, but the Fed is prepared to act.
Policy adjustments will be necessary in the coming quarters. We've now confirmed that the labor market is slowing, and it's extremely important that we not let it slow so much that it tips itself into a downturn.
Investors are watching to see if this turnaround Tuesday can pull through or if the market slip more into correction territory after record highs for months. In New York, Kelly O'Grady, Fox Business.
Well, a new annual report finds Medicare and Social Security are on track to go broke later than previously forecast. Medicare's go broke date for its hospital insurance trust fund was pushed back 5 years to 2036. And the study shows Social Security's trust funds will stop being able to pay full benefits beginning in 2035. That's 1 year later than the last report indicated. I guess that's good news. Well, Google and its parent company Alphabet plan to appeal yesterday's court ruling against them. A federal judge ruled Google has been operating as an illegal monopoly and exploiting its widely used search engine to crush competition. This included paying cell phone makers like Apple and Samsung to make Google their default search engine. The judge will decide what changes and penalties should be imposed. Up next, we'll learn when Americans will be able to see giant pandas inside the U.S. once again. Well, there's a new celebrity couple in Southern California, a pair of giant pandas. They're the first new set of giant pandas in America in more than 2 decades and will make their public debut this week at the San Diego Zoo. Meet 5-year-old male Yoon Xuan, who loves his bamboo, and 3-year-old female Xing Bao, the quote, smart, adventurous one, of course.
No other species embodies that conservation mission as much as giant pandas do. I always try to resist just saying they're incredibly cute, but they're incredibly cute.
I incredibly agree. Well, the giant pandas are making their home in Panda Ridge, a larger habitat with new shade trees for climbing and rolling hills for, well, rolling. The public can catch its first glimpse in person at the San Diego Zoo on Thursday. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. We'll take another look at the latest results from some of today's top election items. Plus, Vice President Kamala Harris hits the campaign trail for the first time with her new running mate.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Just a reminder that we are covering our elections in Kansas and Missouri. For the latest results, scan the QR code on your screen to go directly to our website. You can also search for it at koamnewsnow.com/elections. And there you'll find the latest numbers as we get them in. It's a one-stop shop for the elections that impact you and your community. Well, after weeks of speculation, Vice President Kamala Harris chose Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. The two are planning to hit the ground running, first appearing at a rally in Philadelphia together before heading off on a 7-state campaign tour over the next week. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has reaction from Washington.
President Biden says Vice President Harris made a great decision. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton say they're thrilled. But Donald Trump is already calling the new Harris-Walz ticket the most radical left duo in American history. Vice President Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, making their first appearance together on stage in Philadelphia.
Since the day that I announced my candidacy, I set out to find a partner who can help build this brighter future. I'm here today because I found such a leader.
Walz got the news just hours earlier, then hopped on a plane to Pennsylvania.
Listen, I want you to do this with me. Let's do this together. Would you be my running mate and let's get this thing on the road?
I would be honored, Madam Vice President.
Since that phone call, the second-term governor has helped the Harris campaign rake in over $10 million from grassroots donors.
I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket.
From Philadelphia, Walz will now join Harris on an aggressive tour through battleground states. A tour Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, will be tailing.
I think she chose the candidate who played to the far left base of her own party. I think they've set up the contrast very nicely for us.
Republicans are already scrutinizing Walz's record as governor, particularly his handling of the 2020 riots following the death of George Floyd.
He sat back and let the city of Minneapolis burn. That city has been gutted as a result of those riots.
Obviously, that was an unprecedented situation. And I think on balance, he handled that as well as we could.
President Biden called Governor Walz earlier today to congratulate him, and so did Senator J.D. Vance. He said he got his voicemail, but told him he looks forward to having a conversation soon. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, the National Transportation Safety Board is holding a 2-day hearing on the mid-flight blowout of a door panel back in January. Executives from Boeing and its subcontractor Spirit Aerosystems are being questioned about the frightening incident on board a 737 MAX jet during an Alaska Airlines flight. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy insists the hearing's goal is to improve safety by looking back at what went wrong in the months before that flight.
This isn't a PR campaign for Boeing. What I want to know, what we want to know, is what happened in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, leading up to this, leading up to what happened in January.
Earlier this year, the FAA put a cap on Boeing's production of 737 MAX planes until its safety measures improve. Boeing has committed to increasing employee training and communication, strengthening the anonymous reporting system for employees, and boosting supplier oversight. A bit later, parts of Florida clean up after Debbie sweeps through as a Category 1 hurricane.
Finally looking ahead to cooler temperatures starting tonight and continuing through the weekend. Let's take a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Winds were blown out of the south, bringing us a warmer air that we saw earlier this week, but they shifted today along a cold front. So now winds are out of the north, bringing us a little bit of a cooler air. Actually unseasonably cool temperatures tonight, but along that boundary we didn't see any rainfall because it was pretty weak. We see a drop in temperatures through tonight, but they warm right back up to the 90s tomorrow. But temperatures by midnight getting down to about 68, but our overnight low getting down to about mid-60s. Go ahead and look at that. Joplin, 66 tonight, 64 out in Fort Scott, 63 in Iola and Yates Center, 68 in Veneta. So everyone's in the 63 to 68 range for our lows tonight. Definitely unseasonably cool for this time of year. Now, temperatures getting right back up to 91 in Joplin, 92 in Neosho, 94 in Anderson, 95 in Grove, Nowata. Getting back up to the mid to lower 90s, so a little bit cooler, about 5 to 10 degrees cooler than what it has been the last couple of days. And then we're cooling back down to 70s on Thursday. We are also getting back up to the mid-90s range on Thursday, but Thursday morning, we've got a secondary cold front moving through. You can see where the winds have now started to shift out of the east, and then along the cold front, we have some storms brewing and winds shift out of the north. So it's going to be a little bit of a stronger cold front that's moving in. We see those storms lining up along the boundary. Not going to be super strong in our area. We may see maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two, but mostly just scattered showers across those northern counties. This is about 9:30 in the morning on Thursday. Those continue on out of here, and winds stay out of the north for a few days. We actually also see more rain chances kicking up starting Saturday. So forecast shows, future track shows 7 a.m. on Saturday. Likely these are going to hold off until the afternoon, about 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Saturday, and they'll continue for the next couple of days. So we do have 2 chances of cold fronts moving in earlier today, dropping temperatures down to the lower 90s. So like I said, about 5 to 10 degrees lower, and our overnight lows back down in the 60s. Then we warm back up on Thursday, but those isolated thunderstorms in the morning brought us another round of cooler temperatures. So we see temperatures drop down to 87 on Friday, 82 on Saturday, and that could get a little bit warmer if these storms hold off slightly, a little bit further in the afternoon, or if they come in a little earlier, then it'll be cooler. So we've got those evening, afternoon showers, and then Sunday, scattered showers continuing all the way through Wednesday. As you can see, temperatures remain in the mid to lower 80s through the weekend, start to warm back up Monday, Tuesday, upper 80s, but they really don't kick off until after some warm air advection takes place on Wednesday, bringing us those normal August temperatures, 97 next Thursday, and even back up into the triple digits next weekend.
So I've been waiting to mow until like right before it rains.
That would be Friday. Actually, I think would be perfect. It's going to be cooler, some nice temperatures, and it's not going to rain.
You don't. The chance on Thursday is just so limited. It might not be worth it.
I mean, it's mostly isolated to those northern counties. So Fort Scott and anything north of Pittsburgh. But if you're Pittsburgh, central counties or south, I think you're going to stay.
So mow on Friday, decent temperatures to mow, and then we're going to have rain following it.
Oh yeah,
it'll grow.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws begin their final homestand of the year. Plus, Missouri Southern football begins fall practices. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Football season is right around the corner. Missouri Southern enters 2024 with something to prove. After going 5-6 last year, the Lions were picked to finish 8th out of the 10 teams in the MIAA coaches and media preseason polls. Now MSSU is on the practice field for day 2 of fall camp early this morning. The Lions are just 23 days away from their season opener on the road at Midwestern State. With the quick turnaround from practice number 1 to game number 1, the Lions are focusing on the small things that they can control in these first few weeks.
We got to get in playing shape. There's a difference between weight room shape and conditioning and running hundreds, and then there's playing shape when you're wearing a helmet, when you have shoulder pads, when you have thigh boards, when it's 100 degrees outside. All those things factor into how you're able to play the game, and so we got to get ourselves into football shape and again just continue to buff and shine and perfect our craft.
I've played in the MIAA for a little while, so I've seen and played in quite a few games, so just knowing how little things like dumb penalties and stuff like that can cost us. So making sure, everyone's you're not making dumb mistakes out there and letting your emotions get the best of you. And then, like I said, just staying even keel, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you're going to have some times where plays don't work out and you're going to have big plays at times. Just staying even keel and being able to execute throughout all of that.
The inaugural season for the Joplin Outlaws as members of the Mid-America League is coming to a close. The Outlaws have already clinched a spot in next week's playoffs, but play their final home games of the year over the next 2 days. Now the Outlaws win their second to last game at home of the year. They take down the Fort Smith Marshals 4-1. Joplin gets a very solid pitching performance from Xavier Fossbender. He throws 7 innings of 1-run ball. Outlaws' final home game of the season tomorrow night. They face the Marshals once again at Joe Becker Stadium. Over in Major League Baseball, the Cardinals and Royals are both at home tonight. Each of them looking to bounce back from a loss last night. And if the playoffs were to begin today, Royals would be in, Cardinals would be out. So the Cardinals in need of a victory. They get one tonight, 4-3 over the Rays. Tommy Pham put the Cards up 4-2 with a home run in the second inning. That proved to be all the run support they needed. Sonny Gray gets the win after throwing 7 innings, allowing 2 runs. Ryan Helsley earns the save despite allowing a run in the 9th inning. Now the Royals were on a hot streak until they ran into the Red Sox. Boston won the first game of this series last night and is on the brink of taking game 2 right now, leading 6-3. Seth Lugo on the hook for the loss. He allowed 4 runs through 5 1/3 innings pitched. Royals and Red Sox wrap up their series tomorrow night. That's it for sports. Back with more news after this.
Millions of people in the southeast are bracing for more flooding as Debbie continues to pummel the region. The storm is expected to bring catastrophic flooding to communities along the Georgia and South Carolina coast. Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell has more.
One day after making landfall in northern Florida, Debbie is crawling through Georgia's coast on Tuesday, flooding roads and knocking out power to thousands of people, and more rain is on the way.
We've rode out all the hurricanes in the past 20 years. We've stayed here, so I don't think it'll be as bad, but it's going to be bad.
Debbie is expected to make a second landfall in South Carolina on Thursday. Forecasters say the storm could potentially cause catastrophic flooding as it drops up to 2 feet of rain. National Guardsmen are on standby to assist with rescue and recovery efforts.
Give us time to clear roads, get power crews in, help with any emergency efforts that we need to do in the local communities that the local communities are doing.
Debbie touched down as a Category 1 hurricane in the Big Bend region of Florida's Gulf Coast on Monday. It dropped more than a foot of rain across parts of the state, sending water into homes and knocking out power.
It just got worse and worse and worse. Came up about 3 inches in our garage kind of living space area.
Officials warn the southeast could be dealing with the aftermath of this storm for days. This as some folks are still recovering from last year's Hurricane Idalia.
When you have a place that's still in the process of recovering from a major hurricane and you have another big storm go across, I mean, that presents challenges.
And forecasters say heavy flooding remains a threat as Debbie moves up the East Coast this week. In Savannah, Georgia, I'm Brandy Campbell, Fox Weather.
Well, coming up, we'll take one last look at the numbers from some of the top races on today's ballots. We're going to take one last look at the latest numbers for today's biggest ballot items in Kansas and Missouri. Constitutional Amendment number 1 in Missouri would provide a property tax break for child care outside of the home. And that amendment is currently failing. In the Missouri gubernatorial race, Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe is currently leading the field. You see some of the other top candidates. And 5 Democrats sought the nomination for Missouri Governor. Crystal Quaid wins that race. In the race for Kansas's 2nd District congressional seat, Derek Schmidt is the projected winner of the Republican nomination, and that's according to the Associated Press. On the Democratic side, Nancy Boyda is leading Matt Kleinman. Nancy Boyda held that seat in 2007 and 2008. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a bald eagle mother and her hatchling babies in Minnesota. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.